We got Gators breakdown here. We know we're business.
Gators breakdown. Because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Coming at you right here, day after Florida hits the swamp again, but this time for the first scrimmage of 2025 fall camp. So plenty of intel coming out, a few messages sent back my way of what took place on Saturday. A couple from, teasing one more time. We had Nick De La Torre from Florida Victorious teased that you'd be able to find all the scrimmage notes on there Saturday too. Only taking a few from there so you can kind of get the just a tease of what you can find there from Nick from the Florida Victorious message boards there. But some, just some of the. I was at Universal on Saturday, me and my daddy-daughter day for my daughter going back to school. Now football season ramping up too, so it was one last daddy-daughter day. My wife stayed home, and she kind of had a day off as well. Me and my daughter went to Universal, had a good time. So while we were in line waiting, sitting there messaging a little bit about the scrimmage, but most of it taking place on this Sunday. Had to enjoy that Saturday a little bit. And then some of the other intel that was just kind of filtered out through social media and all that stuff. You've seen, a lot of you guys have seen some of it out there, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it just a little bit right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. A lot happening. A lot happening there. Of course, who took part in the scrimmage, who didn't, who made the plays, all that good stuff. It's always tricky. Just like spring ball, it's against yourself. So if the defense does good, what does that mean for the offense? If the defensive line does good, what does that mean for the offensive line? All that stuff, you know how to take it by now. It is what it is at this point. We'll get our answers in those 12 games coming up this fall. So everybody hit that like button, subscribe as well right here on YouTube. But hit that like button. It really, really helps us out. Subscribe to Gators Breakdown on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform if you haven't done so yet. Hey, and what are you waiting for? Gators Breakdown Plus. Hey, it starts at $3 a month. You get access to that Discord server. That's been really active as fall camp ramps up. Some new members joining last week. Thanks so much there. But of course, hey, we keep that conversation going all the time, kind of chat style right there on the Discord if you haven't done so yet. Kind of been the big pull for Gators Breakdown Plus members is having access to be chatting with each other. I'll host the chat episodes as well. And that takes place there. We'll be doing some giveaways. You get ad-free episodes of Gators Breakdown, the podcast version, if you sign up there as well. So all that good stuff right there for Gators Breakdown Plus members. And hey, everybody in the chat, stick around. It won't take too long to go through, the fall camp intel. So leave some comments. Let's have some more conversation on the back end of all this that we talk about. So if something catches your ear doing the intel part, or if you just got some general questions, if you want to send them my way right here in the chat, go ahead and we'll round up the episode with that. And one more episode of Gators Breakdown coming your way tonight as well. A pre-recorded episode with Brett Ciancia of Pick 6 Previews, his preseason magazine out there for you to purchase. So he has the Gators ranked 13th. We go into all of it about how high he is about the Gators as well. So lots of content coming your way. But after this episode, be sure to check out my Gator preview with Brett Ciancia of Pick 6 Previews. So, all right, let's get to it. Of course, on the scrimmage on Saturday, taking place about midday, like 12:30-ish or so. And, of course, it was a mix of first team versus second team and such, all that. It's not just ones-on-ones. So when you take the intel, remember that. Take with a grain of salt of who's out there. And if you don't necessarily know who's going against who in every scenario. So not necessarily ones-on-ones the whole entire time. Plus without Lagway taking the 1 reps, I certainly expect the defense to get the better of the offense. We know the situation there. Definitely more times than not, the defense should be coming out on top if number 2 is not behind center. So you definitely know by now. Lagway didn't take part in the scrimmage part. Staff still being extra cautious with number 2. He did participate in the 7-on-7 though. But just not the 11-on-11. So leading up to yesterday when he's been on the field, everything he's done has looked really good. He's looked better and better each day. The arm looks fine. And, it's all the shoulder issues, shoulder questions, of course, are going to hang out there till we see it in live game. But for all we have to go on right now is intel up to this point, all the videos that we saw last Saturday of him on the field. And now just knowing that he was out there for the 7-on-7 portion, not the 11-on-11, but when the ball's in his hands, when he is out there, it's looking like it's supposed to look. So, number 2, here's the thing. It's what, 3 weeks? 3 weeks to the first game? You've got to think he'll probably start ramping it up pretty soon. I would think. Now, they could still be pretty cautious of this. But I would think, now look, he's not going to play a whole lot against LIU, even if he was 100% healthy. He just shouldn't. Florida should be out there controlling that game pretty easily midway through the second quarter going into halftime. It really shouldn't be that much of a game. Get him a quarter of work, a quarter and a half maybe. But if you go out there and score 3 straight drives to start the game somehow, we'll get him out of there. That was probably going to happen anyway. So he's not going to be playing that game a whole lot anyway, I wouldn't think. But I do think you want him ready for USF. And, with LSU coming up the next week, I don't think you want all the bullets flying there. I think you want him to play against USF as much as possible, as much as you feel good he should play. I mean, hopefully Florida's rolling in that game too, and you're able to take him out and get some of these backups some reps. But at the same time, I think that would be the game where if you would need him to play the entire time, you would feel comfortable that he could do it. So I would imagine, to me, this is just me guessing out loud, not hearing anything, just kind of putting my own timetable of comfortability with all this. Ramping it up pretty soon. Start taking part in some of the 11-on-11s, and he's not going to get hit in that session anyway. But it's a little more likely than a 7-on-7 session. But he should be okay. I'd be me if everything's good. I'd be ramping it up pretty soon for number 2. So. All right, so with that, Aiden Warner, Harrison Bailey, both took reps with the first team in the scrimmage. Biggest play, and I'm sure you guys saw it, but if you didn't, well, I got you covered right here. Because there were some big plays, 2 big plays. We'll start with the first one that has been out there with video evidence. Aiden Warner, VB3. That's the big play there, thanks to Gators football on X there. But Aiden Warner, downfield shot, body control catch there, right over the shoulder by VB3. A little dance in the end zone, making Lagonza Hayward, dive and miss. There's the touchdown for number 8. I want to see that from, fall camp right now to 2 more years down the road. We might only get 3 years out of VB3, but nice little celebration there with a teammate as well. But some time to throw. Aiden Warner stepping up just a bit. I mean, a dime throw right over the middle of the field. About 50-yarder right there, it looks like, from Aiden Warner to VB3. But there was one of the highlights there from the scrimmage. We'll be taking one more look at it as well. But, I mean, hey, for all the, like I said, we don't know. I mean, with Lagonza Hayward being out there, there is, of course, not the first-team defense either, I wouldn't imagine. But still to see Aiden Warner with the capability here in this situation of hitting the ball, hitting a receiver, a true freshman receiver down the field. We'll get into more of that, too, while VB3 is out there on the field a good bit. But certainly good for Aiden Warner to get this, and also good for a true freshman, Vernell Brown III, when he's out there being able to make a play, to make a play. And a guy, of course, where Florida's moving him around a big, inside, outside, kind of like playing with Trey Wilson this year as well. And we'll get into some more use of VB3, but one of the highlights right there coming out of the scrimmage, the big 50-yarder from Aiden Warner to VB3. And another highlight, another big play for the offense, and that's kind of where we just concentrate as far as big plays go. And Jayden Ball, 40-yard touchdown run in the scrimmage as well. So, there were also, there's your big plays. As far as sessions go, 2-minute sessions working on, 2-minute scenarios, and red zone sessions as well taking place in this scrimmage. So, VB3 on the field there, of course, but Trey Wilson, Khalil Jackson, Aiden Mizell held out for precautionary reasons. We know we go back to a week ago, and the first time Florida was in the swamp. Florida Victorious members there taking part in open practice. The media, that was their first time there as well for the open portions. And, of course, it was coming out that Trey Wilson, Aiden Mizell, maybe some minor injuries there in last Saturday's open practice. Well, we saw them on the field during the week. So they were back out there practicing a bit with the team. But for precautionary reasons, held out of this scrimmage. And then, of course, you put that along with the Dallas Wilson injury that came out last week as well, missing a couple of weeks. And all that led the way now for VB3 to be on the field as a starter. Naeshaun Montgomery, Moise Tunkara. But it was Montgomery and Tunkara getting the first team reps with J. Michael Sturtevant out there for the scrimmage. So, but you saw later, VB3 and Aiden Warner hooking up. So a lot of these young guys, because of the injuries, they're at the receiver position, getting more reps. Apparently Montgomery had a nice scrimmage as well, and that just continues. Everything Nick De La Torre told us last week from everything he's been seeing so far. So remember, kind of funny how it works out sometimes. Go back a couple years ago, and it was Trey Wilson and Andy Jean and Aiden Mizell as the three guys, and Andy Jean's already out, has transferred out of Florida. We're still waiting on Aiden Mizell, and Trey Wilson has done his part, but hopefully now in year 3, healthy, we see more again. But, he had that freshman season that, we expected some of those guys to be able to play like that. Or we're still waiting on Mizell, and Jean is gone. So now you got 3 more in this class. Much like we were talking about those freshmen a couple years ago. And I think this one, this set of 3, definitely a little more higher on, especially with Lagway at quarterback. But also, VB3 and Dallas Wilson paired together from the recruiting ranking standpoint, great. That's you want. That's what you want. But Naeshaun Montgomery had that kind of underrated role, that track star at wide receiver. And people were saying, don't count him out. Don't count him out either. And along with Dallas Wilson and VB3, we go back to spring, it was, hey, all 3 of these guys are doing what we're asking them to do. All 3 of these guys are making the plays with the chances that they're getting. And we've heard it all this camp as well. It's been Dallas Wilson. It's been VB3. It's been Naeshaun Montgomery. Man, Florida is might have hit the wide receiver jackpot right here with these 3 guys. Now, more so, hopefully, than the other 3, because Andy Jean's already out. So hopefully you have all 3 of these guys that are playing together. All 3-4 years they're going to be together going down the road. But with Montgomery and VB3 working special teams as well, kick return and punt return. So credit to those guys out there as well. With Trey Wilson being on the sideline with a minor injury, Jayden Ball, do you really want him? He's going to be working in there too. But to me, now there's a lot of trust that comes into it as well, and they usually rely on very, very sure hands back there for punt return. That's just what we've seen. But to protect some other, and I don't believe in coaching scared for injuries. But at the same time, special teams is a little bit different for me. I don't know, unless there's now I'm going extreme here, Devin Hester type. And I'll even go Florida, Brandon James type, where it's just clear and above. But even Brandon James, wasn't a starter like a Jayden Ball. He wasn't getting the amount of carries. But if you have a starter that can do those type of things on special teams, then sure, then play him. But if it's very minuscule and you got some freshmen that you do trust, have those other, keep them engaged. That's one way they can stay engaged. But at the same time, protect your guys as much as you can. So Jayden Ball, Trey Wilson, all right, yeah, maybe here or there we'll give them certain situations that you feel maybe better that they can do some things. But hey, if these 2 freshmen got the speed, throw Tank Hawkins in there too. The younger guys have the speed and give the staff the confidence that they can do this, then by all means, let them play special teams and let them go make some plays there. But like I said, Vernell Brown, both punt return and kick return. He had that, about 45, 50-yard touchdown there from Aiden Warner. And that was in a 2-minute drill, by the way. So guys making plays when they get the opportunity. Hey, injuries are happening. This is your chance to go out there. In a scrimmage setting, if it had been a real game, I think some of those guys would be out there. Obviously not Dallas Wilson, because we've heard he'd be out for a couple of weeks. But the other guys, if it was a real game scenario, all right, they probably don't have the chances. These young guys probably don't have the chances. But in this scenario, you got your chance. Sounds like, as much as they can. Yeah, of course, I think the offense is definitely going to be a little more limited with these quarterbacks compared. And the defense knows, hey, Lagway's not out there, kind of limited in the passing game, maybe somewhat. But we did see a big play there. But it helps the defense, too, when Lagway not being out there. And then some third-team offense work. Tramell Jones, he's getting some work. He had a good showing. And you know what? Another good showing. Because that's kind of been a story so far through 2 weeks of fall camp is, hey, this young quarterback might be further along than we think he is. Showing ability here. Yeah, touchdowns through the air, on the ground. Did get some second-team reps as well. He's farther along and showing some nice ability according to a source. Him being here in Jacksonville, always kept a closer eye on him. A little bit of connections there. And, after getting injured and then being limited in the spring for Florida, I wondered how fast he could get into the flow. But so far, so good in camp. As far as him showing progress, as he's shown it all throughout fall camp so far. Especially having the ability to keep the play alive and make plays with his legs. And probably, even for me, showing a little more arm talent than I thought he would show at this point of his college career. Now, it's fall camp. Like I said, take all this with a grain of salt. We know it. But talking to some people, and I know there was one of the sites, I believe it was on 3, Zach Albervery, I believe. Well, one of them had a story about Tramell as well, and what some of the teammates were saying about Tramell, and kind of just unsolicited, bringing him up in interviews about how far he's come along. Jake Slaughter, J. Michael Sturdivant talking to the media about how far Tramell's come along, and kind of going along with what I'm hearing as well. So, like hearing that, give Florida, can he get some playing time against LIU and USF? I mean, play 4 games, keep his red shirt. But you hope Florida's in control of those games, especially LIU, enough to, hey, as soon as you can, go get him some live reps. Go get him some live reps late in that game. Defensively, we talked about injuries on the offense. For defense, Dijon Johnson continues to be limited. No Pup Howard, LJ McCray, or Aaron Gates in 11-on-11. LJ McCray not out there taking part anyway. Pup and Gates, just precautionary. Hopefully, we get more on McCray and Johnson from Napier on Monday. Not thought to be major for either, but still not sure how much time would be missed as far as those guys. Probably more for McCray. I don't think Johnson's too serious either. But from McCray, where it is avoiding a scare from last week, but still don't know a timeline right there on LJ McCray. But up front for the Gators, just domination. And it should be. I don't even care if it was the first-team offensive line. And you still hear domination from Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, George Gumbs Jr., Jayden Woods. It wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't be second-guessing this offense because I'm very high on this defensive line. If Tyreek Sapp and Caleb Banks and George Gumbs put together a season like we saw November of last year, I don't care who the opposing offensive line is. I expect great plays. I expect plays in and out that end up being very positive for this defense. Now, I'd expect this offensive line to hold their own most of the time as well. But right now, in fall camp, 2 weeks in, I'd expect the defense to be ahead of the offense, and I'd expect Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, and George Gumbs to be making plays. Sounds like that's exactly what's happening. And it's been that way throughout fall camp so far, but very active up front for these guys. Like I said, so Jayden Woods in there too. Routinely getting pressure on the quarterbacks. Would probably always hard too with like sack numbers because you get within a couple of feet of a quarterback, you call the play dead in these scenarios. But obviously, still very active, putting pressure on the quarterbacks. That's what I want to hear from Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, and George Gumbs. And, of course, now with Jayden Woods and just the feedback we've been getting from him so far, not surprising to hear him as well. Devin Moore, Cormani McLean had good days in coverage and playing the ball. I don't believe any interceptions, though. Still trying to figure out that one as far as asking around. I haven't heard if there were, but still, what was pointed out was Devin Moore, Cormani McLean, good days in coverage. And then Aaron Chiles. That's the storyline here so far. Probably the biggest story of the scrimmage. Maybe not the biggest name. That's why I went to the other places first. But perhaps the biggest story of the whole scrimmage is Aaron Chiles. And from the get-go of the scrimmage. Forced a fumble in the scrimmage. I believe a defensive lineman recovered that. And then here you go. Kind of like the other guys, kind of like on offense, VB3, Naeshaun Montgomery, Moise Tunkara taking advantage of guys nursing some injuries. Well, okay, Pup Howard, we're going to limit you. You coming back from that injury from last year. We'll limit you where we can. Aaron Chiles, okay, you go get some more reps. He's got more opportunity. Took advantage. I mean, 6'2.5", 244. From what I've been told, you see the size difference on the field. Aaron Chiles looks like a man out there. That's what you want your team to look at or look like. And I'm still interested to see if he can find a role at the jack spot as well. I remember Napier when I had him on the podcast. What was it? Late February, or February of last year. I forgot where the discussion went, but him bringing up Aaron Chiles as a pass rusher at the jack spot. Robert Balla brought it up in spring during his press conference as well, as trying to find a role for Aaron Chiles, not just at linebacker, but that outside linebacker jack spot as well. Napier and Balla both spoke on that earlier this year as an option for Aaron Chiles. And there you go. I mean, just add to the list. I don't want to keep repeating it, but I don't know who listens to which episode. I mean, I'm sure not everybody out there listens to the episodes. But I'm not saying anything new you haven't heard from me, from other podcasts, but it bears repeating. This linebacker room, I mean, round of applause. Because that was a golf clap, but yeah. Here. There we go. Just get a little bit more on that, because this linebacker room, it's from where it's come from when Billy Napier took over, to tweeners and hybrids and all that. No more. No more. We got guys that fit the position, guys that have played the position, and it seems like you can just tell. Miles Graham, very instinctual linebacker, has played that role. Steps in as a freshman last year, and because of playing it, because of having those instincts, not so much of a learning curve. You see by the time the end of the year rolls around, he's making plays in his defense. Pup Howard, believe me, everybody knows. I've propped him up for years first of all, being in Jacksonville and following his career, and then having some personal connections to him. But just being able to follow him and see how good of a linebacker he was here in Jacksonville. Saw with Shamar James, who's just now going to the NFL, and how productive he was for the Gators. Jayden Robinson, he's probably the most, played some safety in Lake City. He moved around on that defense, but played some linebacker as well. So it wasn't brand new for him. But no more Scooby Williams type. And nothing against those guys. Not their fault. Not their fault. But Amari Burney was a tweener. Finally took him to his senior season to have a good season at linebacker for Florida. But a Derek Wingo, a Scooby Williams, guys who were thought to be more edge rushers, but eventually become linebacker. It just wasn't working. And we've seen the recruiting on for that Florida's done at this spot. It should be paying off. And now you Miles Graham and Aaron Chiles, Pup Howard, Jayden Robinson. I mean, it's a good group of guys. A good group of guys. And now you just add another option. If you start, when fall camp starts, it's okay. We got a nice 3-man rotation for sure of Pup Howard, Miles Graham, Jayden Robinson. But what's Aaron Chiles going to do? Well, first scrimmage. There's only one scrimmage. I won't make too much out of it. But he did good. Now, also intel coming out of spring, you get a lot more good than you do bad. That's just kind of the nature of it. But if somebody had done bad, we'd be slamming them most of the time, right? Well, we hear good. We'll talk about it. Doesn't mean it will translate. But for Aaron Chiles, good for him. I think we'll earn some playing time if he keeps this up. Miles Graham, word on Miles, let's just stay at linebacker. Word is Miles Graham. Okay, he calls a fumble causes the fumble in the scrimmage on Saturday. Hey, you know what? He's just been doing that all camp. Causing fumbles, causing turnovers. So it seems like there's an added emphasis on causing turnovers or a new approach there from linebacker coach Robert Bala and defensive coordinator Ron Roberts there. Because that group's causing some turnovers. Jayden Woods played a ton. Not surprising, given everything we've heard. And in a scrimmage setting, if you get the freshmen that you've kind of been hearing about, or the freshmen or very young guys that you hear about, well, in the first scrimmage, you were likely, hey, if a guy's dinged up, okay, yeah, they're going to sit. They're not going to participate so much. So all these young guys and these freshmen we've been hearing about, this really should be when their time to shine. So it shouldn't be a surprise when Jayden Woods is out there put together a multiple sack day. Good, good to continue hearing good things about those guys. So like I said, going to special teams one more time. VB3, Montgomery returning kicks. VB3 continuing to get work at punt returner. Tank Hawkins in there as well. Like I said, I wouldn't mind it staying that way. Mix it up. Keep some guys healthy. Keep some guys engaged. We'll see where that goes. All right. There's a little bit. Hard to go too detail. Not details are standing out anyway. I mean, how many 4 receiver sets are there? How many 5 receiver sets are there? Any 2 back sets? No. What did this defensive disguise look like? That stuff's not coming out. And even if I did know that, I'm not putting it out there. I'm not putting it out there at all. Okay, here we go. Corey Green, he goes, as a Plus member, I can assure you, you'll love the episode with Brett. Okay, go on. Yep, Corey, you're in here. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, the episode with Brett Ciancia. Be sure to check it out after this. Eric Pullen, here we go. All I hear about, the wide receivers having good practices. This makes me wonder how bad the defensive backs are this year. This is a concern. I can't go that way. Like I said, it's kind of natural right now. You hear more good than bad. As I said, Devin Moore and Cormani McClain, I told had a pretty good day in the scrimmage. I don't get concerned with things I hear about in spring practice and fall camp. Like, it gets hype because, like I said, you hear more good. But, okay. I mean, why can't it be the wide receivers are just having good days? We've talked about this group. We talked about the potential of this group. And like I said, we don't know either. Is it ones versus ones? Is it ones versus twos? Is it ones versus threes? Twos versus threes? I mean, we don't know enough information to say I should be concerned about this because this position group is having a good day. I can't go that far with it. I've been doing this too long, even before podcast, even before having Gators breakdown. We just don't know enough. But why can't it be the wide receivers that are having a good day and you'd be happy about that? And then, Eric, I'm not trying to call you out on that. But I was just going with that proposition. You're not the only one in that. And look, I get it. I really do. But it's hard. It's really hard to know what to take about that. L. Wolfs says, Pullen, according to Nick, the DBs made plays too. Yep, that's what I said. I was hearing that too. Kind of going to some of the storyline for DJ Lagway and playing time here. S. Beck says we shouldn't see DJ after the first quarter against LIU. That's what I'm saying. I said quarter and a half max, but yeah. Like I said quarter and a half. Completely agree. You don't need to be out there long. Like I said, take away anything that happened at the end of last year, all through spring. I mean, if it was 100% and there was no injury concern, no injury history, I still wouldn't be having him out there, much past the first quarter. But kind of going with that, D says, I think Alex Golesh is an underrated coach. He doesn't quite have the talent. It's kind of tricky. USF, they get a lot of respect and a lot of lauding for playing Alabama tough. but that never translates into conference play for him. I mean, I think goalish. Yeah, I think he's good. I think he's good. I think he's good for them. Can he raise them to a level? But a lot of people were thinking, oh, you play Alabama tough year one of his head coaching career, but that's always a roller coaster. And then kind of plays Alabama tough last year before Alabama pulls away. But that hasn't translated much. But it does let you know, okay, well, maybe you got to be ready to play on that one. I just want to see Florida take care of business against teams like that. Like I said, LIU, yeah, that game should be over with midway through the first quarter or second quarter. South Florida, yeah, it will be a tougher game. It might even be somewhat close at halftime. But you know what? Going into the fourth quarter, I don't need to be concerned about that game. It ultimately won't mean a whole lot. Or at the time, we won't know if it means a whole lot. If you do have a somewhat close game. But yeah, as we talk about maybe check marks for the season, control the games you are supposed to control. The schedule's hard enough as it is. we know that. Control the games you can control. I don't even know if I should really give this the time of day, but I guess I will. Witted official says Dylan Raiola greater than DJ Lagway. Okay, we'll see about that. I feel pretty confident about that one too. Dewey Kroll, hopefully I said that right. Just hope it's not another overhyped year. If we are a 500 team, I'm good with that if the players leave it all out on the field. The schedule, as always, pretty tough. As a Gator, I love that. I won't ever be good with a 500 team this year. No. No. It's too much talent on this team to be going 500. Way, way, way too much. But, yeah, about time to ban Witted official. I'm about halfway through the comments here. I don't even know if he's done anything recently because I'm going in order here, but I'm already tired of seeing what he's putting in here. So, see ya. Here we go. Mel Davis going back to the Aiden Warner touchdown. Look off the coverage, throwing the darts. Okay, Aiden. There we go. Hey, we'll stay there for a second. I'll replay it while we got the comments up there. But as Mel says, looking off the coverage, throwing a dart. Okay, Aiden. Hey, there you go. There you go. KJ. Hey, what's up, man? What's up? That VB3 TD, though. There we go. There we go. I like it. One more time. One more time. Zip right there. I'm not going to say that was it. That was a good throw. Good throw and catch there. Good throw, catch, and run. There we go. Good stuff. Tony A. Hey, Tony. What's up, man? Listening on the way home from Gainesville. KJ, 1995. One more time. Make U.S. special teams great again. Please. Please. And playmaking. Like, granted, punting, field goal kicking. Hey, that has been. That was pretty good under Billy Napier last year. Pretty good under Billy Napier. But like you said, man, make them great again. Let's get some pump block. Let's get some game changing plays on special teams. Pump block, field goal blocks, field goal returns, kickoff returns, as rare as they are these days. S. Beck, the receiver rotation will be sick. No drop off from one group to the next. S. Beck, I think my biggest question as far as that goes, they kind of get overlooked because of the freshmen and how excited we are for them. And then J. Michael Sturdivant coming in as a transfer. More on him this coming up week. Right here on Gators Breakdown. He spoke to the media on Friday. And then, of course, Trey Wilson, Aiden Mizell. What about Tank Hawkins and TJ Abrams? Like, what are those guys going to do? get overlooked because you're just kind of sandwiched in the middle of the experienced guys and the freshmen we're all excited about. You got to think one of those guys would show something. I mean, Tank would probably be the guy I would lean towards more. As probably everybody else would as well. But I don't want to count TJ Abrams out yet. But this is a deep group. What did those guys do this year? Q Lee, I'll put Trey Hawkins in at kick return, punt return. Corey says there's no way they can't find a return threat at this speed. For sure, for sure. All right, Dan from Stadium and Gale checking in. Good seeing you, Dan. What was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. Our Independent Gator Media Day. Man, I've done lost track of Sundays. It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah. Good to hang out with Dan and Stadium and Gale crew again a couple weeks ago at the Independent Gator Media Day. Keep up the great work. Hey, man, you guys too. Harrison, how's the golf game, Dan? There we go. Dan has been golfing it up lately. I wish I could golf it up, man. And then better forehead, Dan or Dave. I'm getting a little bit too much credit here, but Dan says me. And his is way too big and ugly. It just shines. It's there. I don't wear hats as much anymore. I don't know. Is the baldness my calling card now? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. You gotta wear hats to go tailgating though. I start sweating, and sweat gets in the eyes and stuff. I love wearing hats anyway. But podcast wise, I just been I don't wear hats much anymore. You guys might have to let me know. Hat, no hat. I'll mix it up. Who cares? I'm probably nobody cares about that anyway. S. Beck, hey, I would love to see this after speaking of the Independent Gator Media Day we had a couple of weeks ago. S. Beck says, I would have DeBron Hampton returning punts and kicks. Man, I hope the guy finds, we talked about the receiver room being deep. I don't want to forget about him either in that. And special teams, I'd love it, man. A great story. Granted, got to go earn it. Stories don't win you games. Great stories don't win you games sometimes. But that would be a great story if Florida's winning some ball games and DeBron Hampton's out there contributing to this team. And in that way, as they're talking to him a couple weeks ago, yeah. He thinks he's got the speed out there to compete. Punts and kicks returns, yeah, I'd be all for it. L. Wolf on that note as well, I'd put KD Daniels at kick return. We have about 6 or 7 legit players on punt return, kick return. I agree. And you can tell because of how this staff has recruited speed, they've recruited a lot of speed. It's about time to see it on special teams. It's about time to see it. Tony A, that he did tell me now, Tony Agolini, did tell me he got to walk into the swamp a little bit on Saturday, and we had some funny. We had a couple funny texts back and forth during that. He can't confirm Lagway has 2 legs, by the way. We were joking though. He said he didn't get to stay too long, and I asked him, what was it, 4 touchdowns though by Lagway in just 30 minutes. There we go. Thanks for the comments, everybody. Thanks for checking in. Oh, Dan, don't do me that way. Love Jacksonville. I know you don't. I know you don't. D says, I hope Damian George has a good year. He took a lot of crap last year. Certainly he got, I would say he took a lot of crap before that. I do think he got a lot of respect thrown his way once he moved inside. Started playing guard. Could tell he found a home there. I think by the end of the year, I don't think he was getting slammed on as much as he was because of what he was doing out there. So you got him. I'm telling you, I think Roderick Kearney is going to be pushing Damian George for all he's worth. And I mean that in a good way. Right there at that guard spot. I think a nice little competition. You heard Billy Napier say last week they got 4 guards they feel really good about. So I wouldn't be surprised. Have Damian George take a breather for a drive or two a game, maybe to start with. If Kearney's not even pushing more than that, but go out there and get Kearney some first team reps with this offensive line. L. Wolf, I got to check out Jaden Robinson's interview. It was on Friday. I was busy yesterday. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about here. Jaden Robinson was saying they may have him, Pup, Chiles, and Kyle's on the field at the same time in certain situations. Especially, like I said, Chiles can be that 3-down back. He can play first, second down. Then he can slide over to that jack spot in certain situations. I can see it. Oh, you said Kyle. I think you meant to say Miles. There we go. I am Ron Burgundy. Kyle's. Yeah, you meant Miles there on that. I got you now. Man, you can see it. Like I said, this staff, once they got settled last year on defense, you started seeing those pass rush packages that they would have. And a lot of those edge guys were on the field at the same time. And you had your Sapp and your Pyburns and your Searcy and your Gums and some kind of combination. Those guys were on the field at the same time. As versatile as this linebacker group is, I wouldn't be surprised. So we'll probably hear more from Jaden Robinson this week as well, here on Gators Breakdown with what he had to say. I do have all those interviews ready to go. And even more last week with Bryce Thornton and Jordan Castell. So that's what you can look forward to. This week coming up on Gators Breakdown. All right. Good stuff, everybody. Harrison Sanchez. Dave, give us a prediction on Dallas Wilson freshman year stats. Ooh. I might have to think about that one for a second, Harrison. We had that conversation a little bit. What was it? Was it me and Will? We were talking about, comparing it, or it wasn't me and Sponge. It was me and Sponge. It was a week ago. Everybody says Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, and I'm very surprised, in this offense if he's putting up Jeremiah Smith numbers. And we just talked about how deep this room is too. So how much playing? Even if he's a 1 and earning first team reps, how many times does Lagway throw in a game? And how rotational is that unit? But off the top of my head, 40 receptions, 30, 40 receptions, probably coming down just a little bit from that. 600-700 yards? Off the top of my head. All right. Tony. Dave is the Billy Corgan of Gator podcast. The world is a vampire. All right. Thanks, everybody. Eric Pullen says, great show. Thanks for talking about the DBs. For sure. Aspect. Thanks for all the hard work, Dave. Really appreciate it. Guys, we're in here. We're here. Fall camp time. All that good stuff. Of course, this means more content, more episodes. Daughter goes back to school tomorrow. All that summertime's over. It's just, here we go. We're in the groove of it. We're in the groove of it now. One last time. Gator fan Kavan. Mizell's going to be the one to break out. He made some big plays last year. That Mississippi State game shows his potential. When the ball was in his hands last year, he showed some good things. Can he stay healthy? Can he be on the field? And that's just the questions for me. I think he has the potential as well. It is make or break. If it's not this year, then it might be portal and see if you could go break out somewhere else. I hope it's here. Hey, Andy, man, thanks for hopping in. Good buddy, Andy Heyman. Will McLean start? I'm going to say yeah. I didn't lean that way when fall camp started, but when Dijon getting hurt again this fall camp, so putting all the reps together in spring, putting all the reps together so far in fall camp, I'll say yes. I'll say yes. There we go. That's where I'll go with that one. Good hearing from you, Andy. All right, everybody. That will do it right here for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Hey, short notice, but thanks for hopping in. Like I said, it's been a crazy weekend, getting everything ready for back-to-school stuff. Just never know. I mean, when the season starts, it's a little more formula of when the start times for episodes will be. But till the season starts, kind of going to be helter-skelter. Will Miles and I will be back together Monday night at 8:30. We are going to go ahead and plan that. Monday night, 8:30. Kind of getting in sync for the season. So, that will be happening. But then some other episodes, when I cut the interviews, all that good stuff, that takes some time. So, we'll see. We'll see. Last one right here, then I got to get off here. Jeremy says, hey, Dave, what games are you going to this fall? Go Gators as always. Jeremy, I'll be there every home game. Not sure about the Miami game yet in Miami. Probably not, but I'm not sure yet. I got some things to do that week of that game that would keep me away from home. So don't know if I'll make that one. We'll certainly be here in Jacksonville for Florida, Georgia. So all the home games, Florida, Georgia, for sure. I don't think I'm going to any other away games. That's kind of use that away games to catch back up with family time because this takes a lot of time during football season. So use the away games to catch back up on family time. So, Andy, how about the Ole Miss game? If there is an away game, it will be that one. I will go ahead and say that. So I'm not completely shutting the door on that one, but we will see. We will see. Man, I couldn't even wait till the show ended. I needed that drink of water right then. All right, everybody. Thanks for hopping in on this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Gators Breakdown.